What's going on, everybody? Darius Carlo, Program Coordinator and your host of the Virtual Career Lounge Sessions, where we want to help you become a greater you. Our vision for what we're doing is to help middle school and high school kids get ready for life after school. And we believe, and I know many of you heard this before, failing to plan is planning to fail. But before we get into today's topic on networking for career success, which is going to be amazing, we first want to just give a shout out to our sponsor of the Career Lounge, EXL Services. They are a leading analytic and digital operations and solutions company. And if you want to learn more, you can go to www.exlservice.com. We want to say thank you to our sponsors. We thank them for everything that they do. Now, a little bit about Love Our Youth. Love Our Youth is a nonprofit 501c3 organization that provides programs for youth. Our mission is to leverage the power of collaboration, uplift, and empower youth and their families within our community. Long story short is we love our youth. But before we kick in on today's topic, let's introduce the panelists. We have several panelists with us today. So if you guys want to take turns, introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get started.
All right. Thank you, Darius. Wonderful to be here with you guys. My name is Rishabh Jain. I go by Rish. I'm based out of Chicago in the US, and I am a client partner and lead the retail and CPG business for the US market for EXL.
Perfect.
All right, thank you. First of all, thank you, Darius, for inviting us. Right, my name is Prafulla Acharya. I'm based out of our EXL office in New Jersey. I manage, most of a large portfolio accounts in the East Coast. I've been with EXL in this industry for the last 8 years, and happy to have some discussions this call today.
Well, this is going to be awesome. I hear, Rich, you're in Chicago. Prefa, where are you at?
In New York.
In New York. And then I am here struggling in Orlando, Florida with 85-degree weather. It's a difficult task, but somebody has to do it. So I'm glad that I've been chosen to live in this wonderful city. But let's get into the topic. I love networking. It is one of the things. I'm a strong believer in relationship building and networking. I know you guys has probably heard this before, but your network will help determine your net worth. That's what they say. So the more people you know, the more people you get introduced to, is something that even helps even greater. But when we look at networking, and then we're looking at networking from a younger perspective, what does it look like for a middle school or a high school student looking at colleges or different opportunities for internships? Those are the kind of things that sometimes they may need some advice. And guys like yourself, we would love to hear, what is networking to you guys, and why is it important for career success?
Right, Darius, I'll take this. When you look at networking today, right, whether you're looking for a job, whether you're looking for a private business, a corporate business, with social media, with LinkedIn and Facebook and everything else that we do, your marketplace has become very, very global. And you're possibly not gonna go out and be able to connect with people from all sorts of backgrounds, all sorts of diversified cultures, etc., that are out there. Networking today has become one of the most important things in driving that career in successful job career or business development career, simply because we think that building those relationships is an extremely important key to where we want to be. And leveraging that ecosystem is fundamental to driving that forward.
Very, very true. And I do like that because we are living in such a diverse um social media I'm trying to think of you know how it is. We have and I love what you said, Rich, of LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. There's so many different options, and the days of walking around with your business card is not as prevalent as it was when I know, and maybe I'm aging myself, but I remember going to networking events and handing out
Business
business
card.
cards and going to the chamber events and doing that. Our high school kids, the ones that are watching right now, it may not be that, but in this digital era, you still need to be able to network. And when we look at this digital era of networking, what may be some effective tools can we use to network properly? And then maybe what are some pitfalls we should look out for also when it comes to social media and being young and what we post, that kind of thing.
Right. So, Darius, to take this, and I'll pass it to Praful in a second. I think the important thing here is networking is not about just the tools. It's all about how you are coming forward and how you're engaging with people. So the networking starts at a school level, at a college level, or in your community, or in your social activity, or your sporting activity. It starts everywhere, right? But if you have to broaden this out outside your local environment or people that you meet on a day to day basis, tools like LinkedIn or some other tools that are evolving, of course, Facebook and Instagram or Snapchat, and all is good in an unprofessional environment. But in a professional environment today, I think we pretty much swear by saying that it's LinkedIn. So I would 100% say that you should go out and create your profiles on LinkedIn at a very young age and start networking, and do not post unprofessional content on LinkedIn to stay relevant. Praful, over to you.
Thanks, Rich. Right, and I'll also maybe bounce off that idea. Right, it's important. What I say today is that your business card has now turned into your personality. Right, it's the personality that you sort of project into the people that you work with, into the people that you showcase yourself. In that case, the persona that you're projecting yourself on the LinkedIn or any other social media platform becomes important. So the attributes that you put in about who you are, what you're trying to achieve in your life, right, that which the other person or the other party interprets, is becomes very important, because that's a stepping stone, right, that helps you create your own objectives and goals that you're trying to do. So I'll just maybe give a comment to the youth that is trying to build their life in the social media. That just make sure that you're not oversharing or anything on that. Just make sure that you're true to yourself. Don't try to come into the peer pressure, right? That can be a little more swing here and there. So I think that will be helpful for the young ones that are there trying to get into this world of industry and the business.
Excellent, excellent, Praful.
Yeah, I love that because our opportunity to become likable doesn't directly affect where our future is. And sometimes, and I love this idea that we have to be careful on what we post, because as we go further into this age of AI and technology, companies will be able to come back and be able to search what you're about. There's companies now that go through your social media to look at certain things. So how you sell yourself could be on your level of professionalism. It can be on the different things that you're doing at the high school level, or even in the college level, where I'm part of a program, I'm part of a club, I'm part of this, which gives opportunity for more networking possibilities. So what do you guys think, and maybe what are some options, even thinking about a high school level, for even networking in that environment?
Okay. Darius, it's been much longer for me to be away from high school. Praful is much younger and closer to it, but I'll take a shot at it. I think when youth kids, when they reach out to me on LinkedIn, I feel very excited that they started this much earlier than actually when I started networking much later in my career to understand the importance of it. But today, with the fact that these kids are on Snapchat and they're on TikTok and they're on, I don't know, Praful, you know these products well. They're already networking. They're already networking with their friends, with their peer group, and they are not shy to go out and talk about who they are, and they are far more out there exposing their personality. Now, one thing that I want to say is when you do that in the professional environment, it's kind of considered a little bit overdone. So you got to pause. That's where what Praful was kind of saying, that be careful of what you're sharing in that environment. But uh, start off now and pick relevant topics that are important to you. So if you are looking at majoring in business and in consulting or in transformation advisory and all of that, connect with people with similar background. Go after companies like EXL, KPMG's, Deloitte's, and all of that, right? If you're in the technology space, connect with people in Facebook and Google and Apple and Microsoft and all of that. Depend if you're in healthcare, understand what's happening in the healthcare industry, connect with those people, look at what they are posting, look at what conferences they're attending. A lot of these conferences are available for free. A lot of these webinars are available for free. There is so much that you can learn by understanding where some of the leaders in your particular industry are going and how they're interacting. So that's my message to the youth. uh, Stay very relevant, pick up just a handful of topics. There is way too much out there that you cannot consume. So be selective and go deeper and build meaningful relationships, and just do not go out and network with everybody that you see.
Right. And maybe a quick excerpt from my experience, right? So as Vish mentioned, I've been a little closer to the college life right now. It's been like what, although it's been long, it's been 10 years or 8 years since I finished my MBA. One of the couple of things, right, Darius, that sort of helped me, gets an understanding of what exactly this professional networking business works like? Like how it works, how the groups are formed, and so on and so forth. Is again, as you mentioned, it starts at when you join different type of clubs, right? For example, when I was in my college doing my MBA, there is a consulting club, there is a finance club, right? So these kind of clubs helps you understand how the the sort of the current industry, the layout is. What helps the another level for the students over there who are participating in these clubs, right? These clubs are sort of a driveway or an entry to larger organizations. When I say larger organizations, big companies, like when you see, Fortune 500 company, Fortune 1000 companies, they come and they pitch certain competitions or certain, conference groups to this club, saying that, hey, we have a sort of a consulting competition, we have a case business competition. Do you have some students who want to participate? I say go participate on these events, right? Because this is sort of the place where you can increase your visibility. You can share thoughts with your peer groups. There'll be people from different colleges across the country that will come in, they'll share thoughts. You can view them, say them, what exactly ideas that they thought about creating that business case for that particular competition, right? You'll get sort of understanding, okay, that's how they are thinking, because this is not a textbook thing, right? When you sort of understand working in this professional industry, it's not about textbook that you can, just rote learn 20 theorems or 30 theorems on any, laws that you have in business and just go out tomorrow. It's all about learning the experience from different people, how they do it, how they did it, right? So that kind of sort of helped me in at least, put on my thinking hat and see, how exactly this world develops when you sort of jump into that, the blue code thing as they talk about. So maybe just again, one snippet for the people out there.
Yeah, no, I love it. I think that both of you gave really good advice. One, and Rich, I think it's so important that we recognize that there's so many opportunities for us to be able to invest in ourselves and then open up opportunities to meet someone. You just never know. At a free conference where you may think, I may not meet anybody, the person sitting next to you at the table could be exactly who you needed to meet that day. I know recently, because youth is my lifestyle, I was in a conference about drugs and the effect on our community, and local police department and other different local level government commissioners and all sorts of stuff were there. And I was actually sitting at a table with someone that I would end up being in conversation with 2 weeks later, who knew that we would be sitting next to each other? But because of that, it opened up the opportunity to have this dialogue, and it was this connection that we had because we had already exchanged information. So I love the idea of remembering that we have opportunities. Those opportunities can be whether live or in person, but there's stuff that's out there for each and every one of us. Um, Now, when we look at networking and opportunities, um, a lot of our youth are struggling when it comes to being sometimes socially active because they're so used to being on.
Remote and mobile oriented.
Yeah, they don't have a conversation. So how can they, or what can they do to come out of the shell to be able to find a place to be able to network, because they want to be successful, but there's fear, there's doubt that may be there.
Yeah, Darius, I think this is a beautiful thing. I wasn't prepared to answer that question, but it drives me home, this question. My daughter is 17. She's a high school senior. She's applying for colleges right now. 3 years ago or 2 years ago, especially during the pandemic, we were going through a scenario where she was pretty much at home and all her interactions were through chats and stuff on her mobile phone. She was an extrovert personality and she was becoming quite introvert. She would not want to go and talk to people, even when she's in get togethers and parties and hanging out with friends. I saw her constantly on her mobile phone. One of the things that I actually made her do was I said, we all enjoy traveling, and it's a great way to, understand places when you are watching TV, when you're reading books about certain places. Why don't you pick up one city at a time and spend maybe an hour or 2 hours to do some research and put together like a PowerPoint slide of some 20, 25 pages and come and talk to me about the people, the food, the culture, the geography, the history, what's the future of the city, why is it innovative, why we should be visiting it. And she came out with a list of 25 such places, and she actually went out and made 25 presentations to us. And she would not shy away from doing it to me, doing it to my wife. It got broader to my friends. In fact, Praful was a receiver of one of those presentations from my daughter a couple of years ago. And
Yeah.
it was amazing. So, this is the kind of stuff that we have to think about. I don't know what that idea is, but you have to think of an innovative way to say, how do I come out of my shell and notice who's sitting around me? Sometimes I find people that I want to network with who are sitting right next to me in the plane. There are people I meet at the airports. There are people I sit at a bar in a restaurant and meet them, right? And these are some senior people out there going out and doing business, and they're traveling and all of that. So keep your phone down and look around and see who do you want to connect with. You may find somebody very, very interesting.
Thank you for that, Rich. I think that's unbelievable advice. I have four daughters myself, and we've been at that point where, especially during the pandemic, we got so used to, especially our young people, being on the phone, being tied to the phone. But I love the idea of putting the phone down and taking uh, a vantage point of what's around you, looking at what's available. I love the idea of you're traveling, you're at a bar, you're at a restaurant, you're at Starbucks, Dunkin' Donut, whichever place you
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
whatever place, whatever your drink of choice is, tea, coffee, it doesn't matter. There's always an opportunity
Yeah,
to be
sometimes
able
you
to
just have to
find.
sit on a bench and look at the world, right? And you will find it very, very interesting. Notice the air, notice the smell, notice the food, notice the people around you. Just see what they're wearing, see what is going on, and you will find the world very, very interesting, a much bigger world outside the cell phone. Darius, I think I've come to a point where I have to drop off at this point of time, but you're in a hands of somebody who's much younger and who understands networking much, much more than any one of us there, the value of it. So, goodbye, folks. Good talking to you all, and happy to do this again, Darius. We'll love an opportunity again to come back. Okay.
Thank you
Take care.
so much. Have a good day. So, Praful, one
All right.
question, and now it's just me and you. We're going to leave the screen like this. We'll just have conversation for another few more minutes, and then we'll get into some of the more fun questions and
I
end our
like it.
time. Um, but how does, especially looking at data analytics, that kind of thing, what kind of internships should our youth be looking for, and how can they use internships to network well?
Fair enough. In fact, you're talking to the right person, right? I went through the same route. During my college, I was looking at different open positions, right, where you can do sort of a little small gig, maybe a couple of months at any company. When I look at an internship, right, I look from a perspective of how it's not about getting a job. It's about how I can make myself learn on that specific topic, how I can enrich myself in terms of the talent. With regards to data and analytics, if I need to understand what my strengths are, what my capabilities are, internships are the way to go. You can go into the field of anything that requires some analysis on an Excel spreadsheet, right? For example, nowadays any of the big four companies like the KPMGs or Deloitte's, right? These kind of people, these kind of companies, they're large companies, right? They're like companies that churn out billions of revenue every year, but they have a lot of data with themselves, right? So they need people who can do the analysis work. They can do the work that can comes at the bottom and that can be helpful for the people at the top, right? So these kind of internship projects are pretty much open available. They don't maybe guarantee or pay out in terms of the job, but I can tell you that the relationship, the experience that you earn, because when you go into the team from an internship, you work with the directors, you work with the vice presidents, they have visibility on you. Hey, that guy Praful, I saw him working on this particular project, he was great. Maybe let's talk him over the next summer and see if he can be applicable for certain positions over there. It's just about catching the eye, right? You just go there, do your best, and something will come up because you're putting your efforts in for the 2 months that you're there with the company, right? So there's something going to be bound. And if not, the worst case scenario, if not, you are enriching yourself, you're upskilling yourself just by doing 2 months, and you can put that on your resume that hey, I have worked on this project, I used my 2 months or 3 months of the summer working for this particular company, and hey, I think I can replicate and be a good fit for your company for the next time I apply for anywhere outside of the particular thing, right? So, and that increases your networking capabilities as well.
No, and that's very good. Another thing also, even maybe a caveat to that, is now that you're in the internship, like let's set the stage. Praful, you were in the 2 months. What happens after that? Because I've recognized that there's many that done internships, paid internships. They work, let's say, out of high school. They were in found some electrical degree, and now they're working as an intern at an electrical place, and they're doing whatever it is. How can they maintain those relationships? Or better put, why is it important to maintain those relationships outside of the 2 months? Because the 2 months you can show up and you can be the greatest person, but it's after that counts.
Makes sense. As I mentioned again right before, Darius, it's all about keeping your visibility. Technology and the business advances every month, every year, right? It's all about keeping up to date. You are yourself, browsing, different websites, browsing your Reddits, you're browsing your Instagrams, you're browsing, forums that are, particular across data and technology. These kind of information that you collect, the exchange of the information, the thought leadership with this particular person saying that, hey, I have worked with you, but this is a new advancement that has happened in the space of AI, right? I have sort of done a similar project on this thing. I was just doodling around in one of the the online courses and see this is what the outcome has come in. Is there any project that is happening in the company that again I can be fit of? I'll tell you 80 to 90% of the time there will be some project if you are in pace of what the industry is going on, right? They will say, hey, actually that is true. Good that you reached out to me because there is something, and I'm happy to hear that we have done something in a similar space. Why don't you come and look at what's happening, and maybe we can chat over a coffee or something like that. So that relationship maintenance, right, Arius, that makes sure that that because he already has a credibility. The credibility phase has been complete because he knows you can get your work done properly. So he knows that phase is over. And sorry. went out. I'm still available.
You're back.
Sorry. So as I mentioned, right, the credibility phase is over. They still know that this guy is good. I just about I want to make sure that this guy understands what's the work that currently be done, so that and he has the confidence in you, to maybe re-engage with him. So that I'll say that is the importance of keeping the relationship of the particular person after the internship is over.
What, and I love the idea of relationship maintenance. You use the word maintenance, and I think that that's so important. We hear a lot about relationship building, but there has to be relationship maintenance, and it doesn't have to look the same way. I'm a firm believer is I can do a lot of things digitally. I can meet
Right.
people, I can text them, email them, we can make phone calls. But there is something about going to a Starbucks or going to even a fancy coffee, place and sitting down and having a face-to-face conversation, because it puts you back in the same picture. And then I love the idea is that you don't only come with this idea, how can I help, but you also have solutions. You know what? I was doing this course, or I was working on my own project, and I learned this. And now it opens the door to be able to say, hey, do you have something available? There are people out there, every high school, middle school kid that are watching, there are people out there that are waiting for someone to come in with an idea that they can invest in, that they can say, I believe in this because you believe in it. And I've been wanting to do it, but I hadn't had the time. But you had the time, and now because you did this part maybe for free, I want to come in now and pay you for whatever it is that you're doing. So networking is so important to our success. And I'll tell you this, before we get into final words from Praful, his last words of wisdom that he gives us for today is, never stop networking. Whether you've been in a company for 20 years, 1 year, you've been in business 50 years, there's always more. There's always stuff that you can learn. So never stop networking. With that, Praful, give us some final words of advice for networking, for high school kids, whatever it is that you may be feeling that is important for them to know.
Just 3 words. Make yourself visible. That's the mantra you need to take yourself, right? Make yourself visible. Darius, I'll tell you one thing. I've been working in different organizations for the last 8 years. I've seen the large from small company that work for 100 million to 1 billion more than company, right? There are empty seats. If you make yourself, when I say empty seats, there are opportunities in the company to work for. When people say that the market is saturated, no, it's not right. It's just about people. Organizations want people who they have confidence that they can execute this work. So if you make yourself visible, if you make yourself credible to the company by networking, by maintaining your relationship, you definitely have much opportunities than the others in the market. So that's my final mantra to the kids over there.
I love that. Take that home, kids. Make yourself visible. And then just a quick recap. While you make yourself visible, remember the words of Praful and Rish. Don't overshare. Be careful on what you're posting. When you're networking, especially through LinkedIn, keep LinkedIn professional. This is not about your hike that you did last week. It's not about your dog in a bow tie, but this is a professional environment where you have an opportunity to network. And then I love what Rich said. There is still live events that are done for free in your community, wherever you're watching at. Take advantage of them. Make sure and learn who you're sitting next to. Don't be afraid to be bold. Get out of your shell. Like Rich shared his story about his daughter, and then his daughter shared the stuff with Praful. Look, this is a place I want to go to. That can be an opportunity that you can share with someone else. Hey, I would love to go to Hawaii. This is why. Or I love technology, and this program I made would change the world. It is an opportunity for you to share. So be bold, make yourself visible, Don't be afraid to share who you are with the world, because the world needs who you are. They need your skills. Continue the passion, continue the flow. Now, before we end, I want to just ask, these are more of the fun questions. So,
Yay!
these are going to be fun. This is my first question I ask all the time because I picked one of these. Are you a tea drinker or a coffee drinker?
Tea drinker anytime. I like that chai latte with some froth on the top, right? This is good. It's good for the winter time, right? And you just get and the indulgence in that particular. So tea all the time. Yeah.
I'm a coffee guy, but I have to say, I get my coffee, a latte with an extra shot, but my wife loves a extra chai latte. She is a tea lover. Between that and a regular black English breakfast tea, it's her two favorite things. So I love that. Another one of my favorites anyway is, what is your go-to comfort food?
Go-to comfort food, yeah. Specifically coming although people say that I'm an Indian, I indulge in a lot of Indian food, but if you say comfort food, that'll be Thai food. Darius, any day. The spiciness level that comes in with the pad Thai, right? I'll go for, if you wake me up at 3 a.m. in the midnight, I'll just indulge into that, even if you give me 2 courses or 3 courses, right? So that's my comfort food.
I love it. I love it. And for me, being a Hispanic from the Bronx, one of my favorite meals is anything stewed. It can be stewed chicken. It could be stewed beef. I like oxtail, which is stewed. So anything like that is a comfort food of mine. I love it. I wish my wife did, but she is not a fan of the stewed chicken and beef or oxtail, but I make it for myself.
And you get more portions. You get more portions.
Yes, exactly. There's leftovers. It works for me. One last question. Are you a movie guy or a book guy? And which is your favorite? If it's a book, what's your favorite book? Or if it's a movie, what's your favorite movie?
I'm more of a sci-fi guy, right? And today is a good day because it's a 10-year and sci-fi guy into a movie as well, right? Because I'm too lazy to read the book. I used to do it in my earlier days, right? And today is the 10th anniversary of one of my top ever epic movie is the Interstellar, right? Directed by Christopher Nolan. So any day. It's a real life experience, I'll say.
I love it. I love it. I can go both ways. I love reading, especially as I got older. I love having a book in my hands. There's something special about that. It's amazing. But then I also love movies today. With the editor that's here, we were talking about Goonies, which was an 80s film that I just love, that we were talking about just all the great moments of 80s movies that brings nostalgia, but then also brings that fun family kind of thing. So this was awesome. Thank you, Praful, for being here. Again, I want to just take a time to thank Career Lounge and EXL for their support. EXL is a leading data analytics and digital operations and solutions company, and you can learn more about EXL at exlservice.com. Thank you. Please, if you found this video and you like it, please don't forget to hit the like button, smash the subscribe button, get the notifications. We really enjoy your feedback. Comment on this. And until next time, thank you guys and have a wonderful rest of your week.